Welcome to the 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy here at Clube Naval de Cascais. My name is Nuno Ferreira and I will be commentator throughout the day. With me I have Nikki Wilton, and she knows everything about the Dragon class and the boat itself inside out. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. So I've been involved in the Dragon class for 30 years, and in that period I've been sailing on the international circuit. Also, I spent about 7 years inside the Dragon administration with the International Dragon Class Association, where I was vice chairman and secretary. And then latterly I had the pleasure of sailing with Tim Taverner, who was the previous builder for the Dragon class of Pettigrew boats. And my husband and I did 7 years crewing with him, and as a consequence, since he was the boat builder, I got to learn quite a lot about boat building.
So, thank you very much for being with us today. I am an ignorant of the class. I am a sailor, but I am an ignorant of the class, so I thank you very much for your help today. We have light winds. We have been having light winds throughout the entire event. So in the first day we didn't have enough wind to sail a single race. Yesterday we managed to pull 3 races out, and today the schedule goes to trying to make 3 races in, but it's going to be a little bit tough. What do you think?
I think it's going to be exceptionally tough. I think probably they're going to be lucky to get 1 in. But it's interesting because this series, they only require 1 race, and they've already had 3 to award the series. And we're in the fortunate position, if they do 4 or more races, that a discard kicks in. And that can really change the number of who's likely to be in the top 3 in this event. There are some guys, significant sailors, that could do with a discard.
So we started the day with the winds from east, and now we have had a big shift. We had to remove and reorganize the racing field. We are now having wind from the west quadrant. We started with 5 knots, and now we are having around 8 knots. We do have a limit of wind to start racing.
Yeah, that's 5 knots.
So in this class we also have the limit of starting races only with 5 or plus knots. We already have 8. So the race committee did move a little bit to the west, and that's why we delayed a little bit our appearing on the air. At the moment, can we talk a little bit about how the classification is organized?
Well, the classification of this race?
Yes, so far?
Well, His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy has been around for quite a few years now. It was first awarded in 1995. We're now in the 29th, as I think you've already mentioned. We're in the interesting position that there's several people racing today that have won the event before. I think Andy Beadsworth is the only one who could. He's already won it twice, so he's in the lead at the moment. So there's a chance that he could end up winning this. And we've got several other people who've won it once before and who are also sailing. So Grant Gordon is in that situation, Klaus Dietrichs is in that situation, and also Pedro Andrada.
So at the board, at your screen at the moment, you can see the number of the sail number and the 3 letters that tells you the country they are sailing for. So the boat that Nikki was talking about is Turkish, so 12, it's Turkish 12. So is Andy leading after 3 races of yesterday. Very constant sailing the boat so far, as we can see it. We are under 10 minutes to start the first race. Behind the board you can already see what's going on the water. So you have Andy on turn 12. And after that, what do we have?
After that, we have Grant Gordon on 13, and equal points with him is Klaus Dietrichs, also on 13.
Okay,
Grant
so
is technically ahead because of better discard.
The numbers Nikki is talking about is the total points.
Yep.
We are going to say that turn 12 is Andy Beadsworth, and we already have, and as you can see, GBR 820, yes, was Grant Gordon. And he's in second place in tied points with?
Klaus Dietrich sailing GBR 819, a boat called Fever.
Very good. Thank you very much. So these are the 3 boats that are in front, as Nikki already told us, these points that we are talking about, so 5 points for the lead and 13 points equal for the second and third position, if this race that we are looking to start, if this race is sailed, we have already 4 races sailed, so 1 discard will kick in. We have some of the teams that are not really close to the top of the leaderboard at the moment, but with the discard they can move up if they do a good 4th race. Can you tell us a little bit about it, please, Nikki?
Well, one of those would be Portugal 89 with a well-known sailor here, Pedro Andrada, and he's sailing with Miguel Leitman and Charlie Nankin. Now, he is counting a disqualification from the last race, and his other 2 results were a 3rd and a 4th. So if he's able to discard that U-flag disqualification, he will probably end up moving up the leaderboard quite significantly.
Muito bem. So, thank you very much. As you can see at the moment, a beautiful sea here in Cascais, very close and in front of the town of Cascais. Podemos falar.
Allowing yourself to get carried away by the moment. That is how a great vacation should be. Being able to forget everything, even the little choices of life. Having to choose between this or that. Whether this will be in the morning or in the afternoon. Whether catching the waves or laying by a pool. Whether reading a book or taking a nap. Whether visiting a museum or enjoying the terrace. Whether by car or by foot. Whether simple or sophisticated. Just leave it up to the moment and see where things take you. It's entirely possible when nothing is missing and everything is so close. Every path is the right path.
Back to Cascais, where we are holding and hosting the 29th His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy. At the moment we have the wind going down a little bit more, so we have the wind going from 5 to 6 knots of wind until 8, and then it drops back again. As you can see, in front of the boats we have a big patch of a little bit more wind. Closer to shore we have, it appears to be a little bit less wind, but outside not so much as well. So I would go in the middle. And you, Nikki?
With
what we see.
But I'd say with what we see, another consideration would be is if is there any current out there that they need to take into consideration.
So
but yesterday they were certainly favouring, towards the end of the racing, they were favouring the right-hand side of the course.
Good. So what we normally have is that behind the boats, you don't see it, but behind the boats we have the river Tagus. And sometimes the current going in and out makes a huge difference between going closer to shore or further away from shore. At the moment you can see the race committee boats here with the orange flag up, and already with the number of the course, and we are waiting to know exactly the time that we have to start the race. As soon as we have it, we will go back to you. We are within 3 minutes. All the boats at the moment are making the measure to know a little bit which side to start. So normally what we do have, for those who don't know a little bit or too much about racing, we have that boat that you can see a little bit in the middle of the screen with the orange flag is going to be the right hand side of the starting line, and we don't see it on the left hand side of our screen, but it will be a yellow mark that will be the pin end of the starting line or the left side of the starting line. What the boats are doing, they measure the wind from if it's more to the right or more to the left, and then they choose the better side to start. I would say that they are very close to the 1 minute gun, because we can see the boats that are getting really close to it. And okay, and we are going to have Sebastian from Clube Naval Cascais that will going to start talking a little bit as well. Okay, so as we are inside of the 50 seconds to start this first race of the day, we are not going to have Sebastian talking. We are going to go live with you to see what is going to happen here. So I would say that we have a spread fleet, but here on the left hand side we have one of those boats that is already being pushed over the line. Let's see if they can stay there, leave there, but no.
That's Lars Henriksen in the middle of the wooden boat there that is definitely going for an aggressive pin end start. Pretty usual. He's a very successful sailor in the Dragon class.
Which you see a protest flag from that boat for sure, from what we have. One of the boats in the middle of the fleet with a really bad start, but here on the left hand side it seems that they managed to have a good speedy start, so let's say. Most of the boats choosing to come to the left hand side of the field.
Yes, we're now looking at Lars Henriksen. He's actually in the middle of that boat, and it's been helmed by Ivan Bradbury. But Lars has, oh gosh, won 4 European championships in the Dragon class as a helm, and he's won 3 Gold Cups as a helm and won a Gold Cup as a crew. So he's probably one of the most experienced Dragon sailors on the course today.
So Pedro Andrade is here as well, as you can see, pour 89.
Yeah, he's normally a very good starter, so it doesn't surprise me he's that end of the line. And
on the other side, Duarte Champalimo.
Yes, I have to confess, I don't actually know Duarte very well. He's one of the sailors I haven't come across on the international circuit.
And also Enrique, I say.
Enrique Britos?
Yes, I thought it was on the 44th.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
One of the youngest helms around, for sure.
Yeah.
Very successful in SB20s.
2 Portuguese going to the right-hand side of the race course.
Interesting to know what they're thinking.
Here we have Duarte, that was in the image. All the crew hanging on the leeward side, so very light for sure. On the other side, I thought, yes, they are on the windward side of the boat, so perhaps a little bit lighter, on the right-hand side, and a little bit more pressure on the left-hand side. From what we can see.
Yeah. I mean, certainly when you're sailing with 3 guys sitting outside the cockpit and actually on the deck, it's perfect champagne conditions for sailing. It just feels like a magic day when you're sailing in those conditions.
So the foredeck here on the front boats, they are already in the middle here. We also have Duarte is on the leeward side, but the foredeck and now the middle one, it's also on hiking.
So they're getting to the pressure.
Good. So these two should be the 2 boats that were leading. They are already tacked. They were the boats more to the left-hand side.
Yes, it's slightly hard to see whether that's blue haze, but
no,
it isn't. You see here,
yeah. They keep on coming. Yes,
they keep on coming because you can tell that boat because it's got a wooden deck, and we can see that obviously really clearly now.
So that was something that we were talking a little bit before we go live, and you were telling me about that there are boats that have wooden, or all made of wooden, or just partially wooden, and some of the other boats are fiberglass entirely.
Yes, I mean that's a symptom of the fact this boat was designed in 1928, first built in 1929, and at that stage it obviously was a wooden boat. When they made the decision around about the early 70s to build fiberglass boats, the class rules at that time were deliberately made to ensure that a plastic boat, glass fiber boat, and a wooden boat would be comparable, which explains why for a glass fiber boat the Dragon is actually quite a heavy boat. But it has, as you can see, it's obviously been a very successful formula, because there we are with a boat that was built in the, I think Blue Haze was built in the late 50s, early 60s, and is fully competitive against the boat that, well, there are two boats on that race course that have been launched in the last month.
Good.
So brand new, straight out the box.
So, weight-wise, they are all the same weight?
Yes.
But the material they were built in, different.
Yeah. And
so
then you do have the option of putting a teak deck on top of a glass fiber hull. That's more for aesthetics than anything else.
Okay. So what we are seeing is that on the left-hand side we have Turkish 12.
This is Andy Beadsworth.
We also have GBR 819, and I thought I saw some of the other front runners as well.
We saw Pedro Andrade, I think you said.
Yes,
earlier,
but
yeah.
Pedro I think already tacked and went
Okay.
to the right-hand side.
Okay.
So
There's
Vasco
Vasco, very successful sailor in the SB20s.
and J70 as
And
well.
J70, European champion,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically flat waters, 9
Good.
knots from west. So we have one
Andy's
of the
still
boats.
going this way.
Yes.
And it looks like Lars and Ivan have already tacked to go to the right, probably to cover the fleet.
So Meteor, which is GBR 402, also coming to the left-hand side. So Andy, looking back at the moment, the middleman, also trying to see where the opponents are.
I would be surprised
And
if he doesn't tack soon.
Fever is also here, and is at the moment, I would say, controlling this boat a little bit. When we saw the drone image, I had a glimpse of a big right-hand shift, and I don't know
yeah.
if it's true or not, but it's not.
Angles can be deceiving, can't
Yes,
they?
yes. Especially here, the guy in the middle of
Yeah.
the...
Yeah, he looks
it's-
like he's on a big lift.
Yes. You have a good gain.
Yeah.
A bit choppier here.
Yeah, you can see Andy's sailing a little bit lower to get boat speed and keep speed on the boat. I think he's also wanting to just try and speed out from underneath Klaus so he can tack.
So we have a very divided fleet at the moment. 6 minutes in.
There we go.
So
Excellent tack. Straight into on the wind. Very, very good tack, executed well.
he waited until his opponent tacked as well,
Yeah.
and it just...
He just wanted to go, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they're both sensible sailors. They'll know to go and cover the fleet.
How long does a boat this heavy takes to build up speed again on these light conditions?
In these conditions, some people consider it's about 3 minutes before you're really fully up to speed.
Very good. And so here what we have in the image, we still have Andy close to us with almost fully hiked crew. I don't see the front. Here he comes now. Okay.
No, I think they're just sitting out. They're not. They can hike a lot harder than that. Trust
Yes.
me.
It's Simon Fry that is inside.
Yes, it's Simon who's on the foredeck,
Good.
and that's Inez Kaylak, the Turkish crew, in the middle.
Well, they can say what they want about this boat, but this is a beautiful boat.
It's always a pleasure to watch them, and with a beautiful background of Cascais. I mean, wow.
Well, it certainly moved you.
Well, in every way, in the sense that we came to live here.
So if that is not conquering you, I don't know what it is.
Well, what's not to like about Cascais?
Well, you have me there as well, because I love sailing here. I love just coming and sightseeing in here. It's normally very fantastic conditions. Normally we don't have this type of wind. We can, well, sometimes we have it, but Cascais is more known for sailors for heavier winds and a little bit more wavier.
Yeah, but I've always found what's lucky here is that you've got the two courses. You've got the one that's closer to the bay,
Yes.
where you tend to get a bit more shelter and lighter winds, and then you've got the course that is more out to the west. And when you go out there, I always used to joke that it's where Mr. 20 Knots lives. You always quite often go through a little dull patch, and then you arrive on the race course, and suddenly it's full on.
And sometimes it seems that we have a line that divides both race
It's the
fields.
line that you put your oilskins on for.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here we had Duarte Champalimo, that was the boat that we managed to see as the boat that went more to the right-hand side. They do seem to have a good lift on the right-hand side
They
of
do
this race
actually,
course.
and Andy seems to be a little bit headed at the moment.
So let's wait a little bit. The time will be when the boats that come from left and right will get together. But at the moment, I would say that the right seems to have a very good lift. Let's see if they have the speed as well to cross Andy's boat. That was the boat that went more to the
Yeah,
left.
that would suggest that Vasco's been on the right-hand side of the course. Very, very experienced sailor here on the bay.
So all the Portuguese sailors that are among the crews, they
It's
are
like
very used to sail here in
An
Cascais.
interesting crossing.
Professor crosses.
Yeah. It looked a lot tighter than it. Well, still quite tight.
Yes.
Someone's having to duck there.
And it's going to be Andy.
Yeah.
So,
Basically-
advantage right. The first beat seems to, at the moment, have compensated to go to the right-hand side. So sometimes, when it's west, especially here. But
Right
mainly,
normally pays.
yes, but normally it's when it's north.
And that Irish boat there is J. Burke, 206.
Talk us a little about Jay.
Jay? Jay's been around in the Dragon class, he told me yesterday, for over 30 years. He started sailing in Belfast, I think, for Mick Cotter when he was only 18. So he is a pretty experienced sailor, but he's a Corinthian, which means he's never been paid to sail or been involved in the sailing industry. So I think at the last Juan Carlos, it was Jay that won the Corinthian trophy. In quite a lot of the competitions now, they have a Corinthian trophy for crews that have no professionals on board.
So we are coming close to the weather mark. As you can see, there are two yellow marks over there. So you have the weather mark, which is the one that in our screen appears to the left of it. And at the moment, it seems to be Michael Zenkel in the Portuguese boat that it's closer to the mark.
Yeah, he's been very successful lately in quite a few of the Grand Prix events. He's an experienced sailor. He's won various events here before. From memory, I don't think he's ever won the Juan Carlos.
Let's try to see who is the first boat coming in.
It definitely looks like that. Well, the first boat there, yeah,
So
it's definitely Michael.
Yes. So on Saturn, Pedro could not reach the mark, so he had to do a
Quick tack.
Yes, a quick tack. And second,
That
008.
let's have a look at the sail number.
Sail number. In second position. We're trying to get some feedback from the water as well to try to help you
Yeah,
and help us know the boats that are going around
White.
the marks.
white is a pretty common colour in the Dragon class, as you can see.
So it will be rounding with the and hoisting.
Oh,
the
diving
kite.
immediately, obviously thinking there's more pressure over on the
Well,
on the left-hand side for the downhill.
he did have a right wind shift.
Yeah.
So here we go. So Andy is now crossing windward mark, closely followed by fever of claws.
Sorry, it's appearing at the screen here. So you see
402.
402.
It's Meteor from Peter
Meteor,
Cook.
who's got Torvalinsky on board, who's the world match racing champion.
Yes. So most of the boats decided to jibe, which clearly tells us that there was a big right-hand shift. Here we go. So at 800, so it's misbehavior from Jan Secker
Secker.
and followed by Pedro Andrade. Okay, so these are the three boats leading. And in fourth position, we also had another Portuguese.
Yeah, Portuguese 90.
Portuguese 90 is still Michael.
Oh yes, of course it is.
So, and the last boat seems to be Vasco and base.
Yeah, Vasco's sailing with some crew who are not experienced dragon sailors. I think this might even be their first event.
They're doing.
So yeah, they're doing on a dragon. So it's
told
always
me-
tricky.
You told me this is a special boat for us to get a handle of it.
Yeah, it's one of those boats that up to a sort of top club sailor level, they're not that complicated to sail, but to get the extra 10-15% of boat speed out of them, to get at the front of a fleet like this, it takes a lot of experience and a lot of technical know-how.
So you can see that there are some, on the right hand side of our screen, you can see a blue, dark blue spinnaker and a red, dark red spinnaker as well. As you can see, they are sailing a little bit higher than the rest of the fleet.
But in
No-
little less pressure, I think.
You think? I
It
think they
seemed to
were
me-
just trying to defend themselves. I think
Okay.
that perhaps the blue tried to attack a little bit and they started to go up,
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
up, up, up. And normally, like in every other sport, when 2 or 3 competitors start to battling with each other, the rest of the fleet just gets moving further and further and ahead. I don't know if they went there to try to find a little bit more breeze, because they might have found something when they went upwind. Again, we as commentators, we can only see what you are seeing in the screen as well, and this is all we have to help you with and try to make sense of it. So definitely the four boats that rounded first, they decided not to attack each other very much and decided to go straight downwind. You can see in most of the boats, you can always see the front deck in front of the mast, sometimes up and sometimes down. Go through with us with that a little bit, please.
Well, I was going to comment first on the fact that normally with the top 3 boats, they tend to take a very pragmatic decision not to attack each other and leave that for the second upwind,
Yes.
because
that's
it
on the
makes
books.
it makes sense to get as much space as you can between you and the other competitors. So that's clearly what's going on. Certainly, Michael Sankel has a pretty solid lead there, and I think something fairly dramatic would have to happen for him to lose that. So I would expect at this stage for him to win the race. We were talking about the positions on the boat, and that's very clear from that photograph that you have the helmsman clearly at the back. The person in the middle is called the middleman, and the foredeck is the person who goes on the front of the mast. In conditions like that, like this, his main role, the foredeck, will be to look behind and try and spot wind shifts, because the wind is coming from behind and he can see shifts in the wind and tell the helm so that they can change in position for better pressure. And as you can see there, that person normally is, in these conditions, the spinnaker flies much better if it's away from the mainsail and it's free. It takes a little bit more skill in flying the spinnaker by the middleman, but the art is to hold the pole away from the edge of the spinnaker so that the spinnaker can float a little bit more freely.
I was coming back to commentate exactly on that. All of them seems to fly the kite a long way out of the spinnaker.
Yeah, you're wanting to get distance from the mainsail and not disturb the mainsail, so you get much more wind in the sails, relatively speaking. And the kite behaves very sensibly when it's flying that free. And as you can see, the poles are normally at this stage they're either parallel with the water or the deck, or slightly down. As the conditions get lighter, you'll probably find the poles are pushed down a little bit to make it even freer.
The the sea level for this type of wind, it's perfect for this type of boats.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at this, wishing I was out there.
We need to try to put you on a boat. We have been discussing that as well.
Yeah, need to go sailing. But I mean, this is just, some of my fondest memories of sailing here have been in these conditions during winter series regattas that they have, and also the Juan Carlos. It's just perfect.
So these two boats here at the moment, overall they sit in first and third position. But in this race they are in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and it's always hard to move from the middle to the front because all the guys at the top are really good sailors and they know what they're doing.
So, curiously enough, GBR 820 that just appeared sometimes on the right hand side of our screen is actually running in second position overall. So it's Grant Gorton. So in this image, and sometimes when the other spinnaker appears, we can see the trio that is leading the trophy overall, which leads us to believe that it will change a little bit in the end of this race if this position doesn't move a little bit. So we are coming to the downwind gate. There are two yellow marks, and the crews can choose to round each one of them. They have to come through the middle, and then they go upwind, choosing one of the sides. So the first boat rounding the mark and going upwind chooses and elects to go to the right hand side, which was the favorable in the first upwind beat. And second we have
Misbehavior.
That's
the
going
Swedish boat.
Okay, going to the right as well. Strangely enough or not, I think it's Pedro in the light blue spinnaker that is going to the left hand side.
Yes, I would expect him to tack quite soon after he's gone round.
Yes. They are on the water and they of course sense something that we don't and we cannot through the television, and it might have, doesn't seem that way, but it might have appeared a little bit more pressure on the left hand side or a little bit of wind shift, which doesn't seem, from what we can see, doesn't seem to have happened.
But I would expect Michael Sankel now to play a very conservative race and make sure he keeps between himself and the majority of the fleet.
But curiously enough, we do have two boats that went left. So we have two boats on the right, two boats on the left.
But the majority going right, I think.
And now let's see what everybody else does. Well, they are divided.
Shows it's a good gate.
So it seems a little bit lighter than when we started.
Yeah, that looks more like 5 knots.
Okay.
But we'll find out when we see whether the crews are starting to sit on the deck.
So one of the boats that I think it's Pedro Rebelo Andrade, I'm not sure of it. It seems to have decided to go left.
Yeah.
And go against your advice of attacking immediately, which I would have happily followed. But as you know, he's local, he has a lot of knowledge, and also with this type of boat he has a lot of knowledge as well.
Yeah, but for me, I would have thought it was more sensible for him to look to get a third or a fourth position, because he's looking for a discard, which he's already got because he was disqualified in one of the races yesterday.
And he has a third and a fourth.
And if you could add another third to that
would have
certainly moved him up. So I'm a little bit surprised about him going left.
He wants to attack.
Yeah. Are you attacking or are you defending?
Yes.
Is that okay?
I think by this time he might have already tacked. From this position it does seems to be a little bit breezier from middle to the left, but we can be easily being deceived by an image that it's not real. Here we are in the second beat. Strangely enough, we have the boats a bit divided from right to left. I say strangely because in the first upwind leg we did manage to see that there was a really big right-hand shift that was very favorable to some of the Portuguese boats.
I get the impression Michael's really looking for, I think it's Misbehaviour who's behind him to tack, because he must be really wanting to get over and look at the rest of the fleet rather than staying out here on the right.
Well,
unless he's very confident about the pressure. I think. Yeah, that's Jan Secker in Misbehaviour.
how did Mike behave himself yesterday?
He's actually, he's not really high up in the marks. He had a 9, a 7 and a 7, so even a win is not really going to put him in at the moment. You wouldn't think it's going to put him in contention for being 1, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but it's currently 7 overall.
Yeah.
So this should be Pedro here that is already on the left tack. Port tack.
Yeah. Is that Pedro tacked? Yeah.
With the distance for the other boats, I would suggest
You can
yes.
see the wind has definitely dropped, and as much as we can see, it looks like there's only one person, one person on the side deck, one inside the
J-board.
boat.
And the weight is a little bit more forward, so yes, might be a little bit lighter. Almost no tension on the General Hilliard as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're wanting to keep that sail full and driving the boat. That's Michael. Yeah, Michael again.
Behind Michael, you said you had?
I thought it was Misbehaviour, the Jan Secker.
Yes, it is. It seems to be so. It's currently in 5th overall. So we have 7th and 5th overall on the right-hand side, and as far as we know, leading the race.
You have to admit, they do make a very, very pretty... Yes, thank you for bringing in your Genoa sheet. Dragging in the water's never good. And it's looking very light.
And
suddenly.
getting lighter.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that we started later was because in the part of the racing course that we were starting it at 12 o'clock, we had a lot of patchy zones, so we had a lot of parts of the race course that didn't have as much race, so we moved a little bit more to the west part so that we had more even conditions throughout the race course. Nevertheless, in here we still see a lot of patches throughout the race course, so the participants they find places where they have a little bit more wind and then go softer, and they have to keep on searching for more and more breeze. The front runner, so to speak, decided it was time to tack.
Yeah, and
Misbehaviour still
the Swedish boats continued.
go to the right.
I would have expected him to have gone, but he seems to be pretty confident about going right.
As you can see here, you can see different colors on the water. This means that we have different wind strengths throughout the race course.
Which, as you know from sailing, can be really aggravating. You're doing well and then suddenly there's no wind. And
Well,
you
but that-
watch
but that-
everybody else moving.
But that's sailing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
that's
means
it.
that we have a good excuse for not being so well that we just hit the other spots.
Yeah, I fell into a hole.
Yeah, yeah.
That speech. Yeah.
That's something you can always expect from a sailor.
Yeah. Oh, at least 30 excuses. Oh, that looks a little bit more wind there.
So, I would say that we still have Michael leading it with a really good and solid lead. Pedro, if Pedro is the boat that I'm looking at, it seems going header and header.
It's headed. Yeah.
Yes, and
And it's
every
not gonna-
time more
and it-
headed.
And it's not going to help having somebody tacking on top of him either. I
Yes.
mean, look how long it's taking that boat to get back up
And
to
I
speed.
think it might, if it's unlucky, it will even lose the third
Ooh.
position.
Yeah, Pedro having to tack away.
I don't think that's not Pedro. Here tacking? No, here I think
think
it's
so.
it's Enrique Bridge.
Okay.
Yes, it is the 44.
But whoever he tacked because of must have probably had a problem getting his Jenny in. for
Okay,
some
so
reason.
we are here with Michael, and it would be good if we could see around Michael to try to find the boats that went left.
Yeah, that is light. He's got 2 guys inside the boat.
And the water around him pretty still. Let's try to
Okay.
see the number of that sail that it's coming from the other side. Wait. We wait when the boats come together.
The only one you can tell with certainty is the wooden one. Well, it's Hendrickson and Ivan
That's the only
Bradbury.
one.
Yeah. Lovely shot of Michael there. He's getting a lot of film.
That's for the sponsor. Oh no, it's white.
Yeah, I mean, he's
But
got
they-
big separation
Yeah,
to a lot of the
yeah,
fleet.
yeah. Good solid lead.
I mean, there must be quite a lot of holes in the wind because I wouldn't... To see that much spread in the fleet is unusual, even like the fact is light.
You can see how deep that Genoa is.
Yeah. Keeping the boat powered up.
So
Oh, there's one of our ribs.
from the behavior of the boat that was misbehavior, I would say that Michael should not be at the ley line, so it needs to tack. And let's see if he managed to do it within the breezier. I don't know if I can use that
Yeah.
term in
Well,
this
in
day.
the pressure.
Yes. So perhaps
They're getting prepared
Yes,
to tack. You
to
can
do
see,
so.
yeah, there we go. Trying to do a bit of a roll tack there.
so misbehavior tried to go all the way to the right to see,
If they could get some extra breeze, I guess.
or
Come
even
on,
a
guys,
shift.
get that Jenny sheet out of the water.
You could go and train them.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know who's on board. They're good. Yeah, a couple of Olympic campaigns going on there.
Yes. That's one of the things we were supposed to talk about. So we have a lot of Olympic medalists on these waters today.
We've got 2 silver medalists sailing, Luke Patience and George Leonchik. 2 different boats, and I was just checking people's Olympic campaigns yesterday, and yeah, we've got 9 guys, I think, who've gone to the Olympics for in various classes. So that's not untypical of modern dragons at international events. It's knee-deep in medalists and world champions and European champions in other classes, and this is no different.
So this is the day where the sailor is ripping up his hair and trying to find a smooth and unpatchy track until the next mark. For you non-sailors, the wind is something that it's not constant. So it's non-constant on the strength and non-constant on the direction that it's coming from. At the moment, the leading boat seems to be in a low, which is a spot with less pressure than other places around the mark, and also the direction of the wind shifts. And when the direction of the wind shifts in the direction that we are favored, we call it a lift. So we have been lifted.
Here we go. You could see them looking anxiously for the ley line, which is the direction that they can sail to the
Until the
mark.
next mark, yes.
Yeah, without having to tack again.
And going back a little bit, so when the wind changes in the direction that it doesn't lift you up, it heads you. So it brings you a little bit further away from your point. Here from the left we have a boat that is doing a very good recovery.
Yeah. Hopefully
And
we'll see a
seems-
sail number soon.
Yes, and it seems to have speed,
Good.
so wind.
Mhm.
So it will cross or not this boat, At the moment, the two boats are coming together. This boat has the wind coming from the right, so it means that he has the right of way against the other boat that at the moment we don't see in our screen. But from our direction, so if it was coming from us and against that boat, we should be seeing a boat coming closely by. As you can see it in the moment here. So I would say that he will not cross in front.
No, the boat coming to the mark on the right-hand side, if you're looking, seems to be slightly out of wind. On the other hand, it looks like the leading boats are going to have to work to get round.
Do you think that could be Pedro?
Okay. Could be.
Let's try to see a sail number. It's a Portuguese boat, that's
Then
for
it should
sure.
be Pedro. Or
It's
Henrique.
489. If it's 489, so it's Pedro. So Pedro still holding that third position,
Yes,
but it seems to be a little bit closer.
Yes, it definitely looks like Michael lost out a bit on that leg.
So it seems to be a bit more closer the four leading boats. They
Actu-
didn't change the position.
But it's interesting, I mean, when we looked in the middle of the race, with the windward leg, it looked like the fleet had spread out, and now they seem to be kind of closing back in again, which suggests there's big variations in the wind strength across the course.
So first kite going up. So still leading we have Michael
Jibing.
immediately, closely followed by Misbehavior with Jan.
Then Pedro, ready to launch. You can see the corner of his kite now. Spinnaker.
And closely followed by Vasco Serpa.
Yeah. He knows the waters. Locals say that.
So we have three Portuguese in the four first positions.
Well, Michael's German himself, but it's selling a Portuguese boat.
Yes, you correct. So, but with Portuguese crew members.
Yes, and I think he actually is a member of Club Naval too. So.
Okay. So,
There's Blue Haze.
different tactics on the three followers and the leader. The leader decides to jibe immediately and goes to the right-hand side of the racing field.
And this looks like Klaus steers through.
Racing their kite. Then we will have Andy.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
So, much more of this pack is going to the left.
There's Andy there, Turkey.
Closely followed by Meteor of Peter Cook.
So Andy's going to have to do a bit of work. I mean, yesterday he was second, and first, so it's quite a dominant lead.
Let's see what happens today. Well, at the moment he will discard this race, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I don't know what time. What time are we now? We're 2 o'clock. It's going to be quite
Close
difficult for them to
to launch the
do
next
second
race.
race because the warning signal has to be before 3 o'clock.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder who has the dramatically green spinnaker.
Irish?
I don't know, but it
Could have been.
yeah. Okay, this wind's dropping, isn't it? You can see that from the way the spinnaker's flying.
And from the speed of that boat.
Yeah, our wave lacking. And the beautiful coastline behind.
So behind, with Port 44 crossing behind, we have Henrique Bridge,
Yeah.
that is with Luís Pinheiro and Francisco Maia. Here we have the leading boat.
Wow. That gives you an impression of quite a big lead. But I suspect the other guys
Yeah.
are just out of camera.
On our left-hand side,
Yeah.
out of the screen, yes. A lot of the boats decided to go to our left side. And at the moment they are out of the screen, of our screen.
Looking for better pressure, I would suggest.
I don't know if if Misbehavior went and the other guys were so close that Misbehavior could not jab in front. I don't know if that was the case or not. Sometimes it happens. You want to go to the other side, but you are limited.
Exactly. And other times you're forced to go places because you're trying to keep the wind in your sails free and not get somebody sailing immediately behind you and taking the wind from your sails.
That's sailing.
That's sailing.
But as you can see, the wind is dropping and it's getting lighter and lighter.
And they'll probably be getting very nervous and hoping that somebody shortens the course.
But it's two
Yeah.
legs,
Would normally, I believe they're doing upward finishes,
so they are finishing. They have a really good gap from what we can see, but then again we don't see the boats on the left hand side and we don't know if they are coming closer or not. One of the things that we know is that this boat sailed this entire leg alone, so
yeah.
without any interference of other boats, which sometimes leads to being faster than the other ones.
Yeah, and also very confident crew work. I mean, they gave the impression they weren't getting twitchy about what was happening on the rest of the course. They were very confident about where they wanted to go and where they wanted to be.
So we have Michael Zankel, João Matos Rosa and Diogo Pereira. On our screen, going downwind, trying to get as close as possible for the finish line.
Yeah, I'm feeling slightly sorry for the guy flying the spinnaker. It's always hard when it's that light.
But as flatter as it gets here. So it also helps a little bit.
Oh yes, that if there was a lot of swell around would be just so horrible.
Then you would... This is the second and the third boat.
That looks like Misbehavior is number 3. And
Misbehavior is on our right hand
yeah,
side, yes.
so
And
is that
here is
Pedro?
Pedro, yes.
Yeah, so he's
66. No, 66 is not Pedro. It's Vasco.
Vasco.
Pedro is 89.
Yeah,
so
so
Pedro
where's-
should be around here somewhere.
Okay, he's jibing away.
So let's try to find
It's
out.
very difficult when you can't see the angle to the mark.
So Pedro had a blue spinnaker, so it should be the first blue spinnaker on our right hand side. So we have two light blue spinnakers, but Pedro should be the one in
one.
front. And Miss Behavior should be the white spinnaker between these two red ones and the other one that was pink. No, purple.
That's Vasco. That boat
So
used to belong
Vasco
to.
is coming to the middle of the race course, and Pedro is coming from the left-hand course and trying to come to the middle. And Misbehavior just jibed away from Vasco and is trying to pass in front of Pedro. Pedro is there.
I think probably protecting himself against those two that
Yes.
are on the right-hand side there.
So the second boat at the mark was Misbehavior that is jibing at the moment, and we can see further in the middle of our screen. Closer to us, Drago with Vasco Serpa with the yellow thing around his head is now going to jibe. Let's see if he has made any gain on Misbehavior or not. Drago was with Vasco the fourth boat rounding the upwind mark. So let's see when they get closer to the finishing line. It
Yeah.
seems to be a little bit lighter where Vasco is at the moment. Do you agree with me, Nikki?
Yeah, but then you notice that Misbehavior chose to jibe back, so
Yes.
it suggested that when they went out to the right-hand side, they didn't, or jibed onto starboard, they didn't like it very much. It's going to be very interesting to see how they meet up.
So I would say that the second place of the podium, it's really open at the moment. So
And
first position.
And the guys in the middle there, there's quite a lot of positioning going on.
Yeah. So I would say that first I can see Michael was still in the good lead, and here for the second position we have
Looks like
quite a
his
race.
behaviour is.
You can
Yeah.
look at all the angles you want. You're looking to the television. It's going to be
Exactly,
hard.
I know. Here I am peering at the television going, where is the mark?
So normally we are sailors. Normally we are used to be outside on the water looking to everything. And when we look, we can see the marks, we can see the wind, we can see each other. And we easily can tell you who is in the lead. Now they are, they are coming. I would say Vasco is trying to hold a position of clear wind
Yeah.
and trying to move past misbehavior with this maneuver that he just did, because if he was really close to it, he will use his the starboard advantage to come closer to misbehavior. So I would say that he's trying to just stay with the clear air and trying to be faster than misbehavior to achieve that second
All
position.
of which allows Michael to go further and further ahead. Because,
Well,
yeah.
For Michael to lose this race would
Would
have
be-
to happen something immense. But I would say the podium, the rest places of the podium are being fought hardly, inch by inch. It's a little bit strange.
Hang on, metric.
Sorry?
Centimetre by centimetre.
Yes, we're in Portugal. No, but strangely enough, for somebody that it's a non-sailor, it looks to these conditions and looks to a guy like me saying that he's being really hard fought, centimetre by centimetre, and it seems to be strange, but it's not. It's really that close.
There
So,
we go.
crossing the line, we have Michael winning this fourth race of this 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy, and here we go to the winner. But behind this, congratulations! Behind this fantastic first position, very well sailed race by this team, we have a huge fight, and it's going to be, I would say, a camera on the line that will decide which one will be second position.
Yeah, I mean, the angle we are at the moment, it looks like the line
Vasco is
slightly-
going to win it.
Right, I see, it does look like Vasco.
It seems Vasco. I don't know. It seems that Vasco stayed in second. Misbehavior with Jan in
Yeah.
third,
And
and it should be Pedro that it comes in fourth position.
Now, the interesting thing is that win could move Michael up to fourth, I think. Yeah, fourth,
So
assuming the others discard this race.
here
result.
we have GBR that ends in 7,
But the wooden one.
the wooden one.
Yeah. I don't think it's ending with 7.
I'm sorry.
The wooden one should be Blue Haze.
And now we should be seeing Andy
Aw.
coming close to it.
Yeah, Andy trying to come in with speed. That's going to be tight.
So, as you can see, a lot of doubles, a pair of boats managed to fight the positions as we saw. The last downwind went particularly good for Vasco and his crew, so he managed to climb from fourth to second position. Pedro was in third, dropped to fourth position, and misbehavior that round in second, dropped to third. And
Oh,
here's
A
another
lovely classic tight finish.
exactly. So even further down the line, we still have, and I'm going to like to see which one is going to be
Yeah,
ahead of these
exactly.
two boats.
Which part of the boat's equipment
Yes.
across the line?
It's going to be interesting to see the calls. Again,
And again, this looks like another four boat lineup.
I would bet.
That'd be the
I'll
red
bet
one.
I'll bet my money on the red one. But then I don't put my money on
No.
it.
I think it's going to be red, blue, green.
No,
Oh, no,
red, white.
pale blue.
Yeah,
Oh,
pale blue,
white.
white. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we agree.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so now what we are looking for is that everybody finishes as quickly as possible so that we can have that fifth race in before 3 o'clock in order for us to be able to have yet another race. That will probably very interesting to see because it will move a lot the places on the overall leaderboard.
Well, Michael's ankle certainly will move up quite considerably, and as I said, I think that would move him at least into 4th.
Pedro will also have a good move up.
Yes, because he was one of the ones we identified. So he had a 3rd, a 4th, and a 21st yesterday.
Misbehavior
And a
will also
28th.
have a good. And the winners again with a very solid race. We have Michael Zenkel, we have Diogo Pereira with a red cap, with the yellow cap, and with the grey cap we have João Matos Rosa. So 2 very strong local sailors, both João and Diogo, with Michael at the helm. They did saw that right hand shift on the first beat, the first upwind leg, and
That was a good call.
that was a really good call, and they managed to stay strong throughout the entire race course.
No, is that in?
So we are now going to see a little short footage of what happened on this race course. Some highlights. So here we also see
Michael.
with Diogo in the front calling the tactics, and João Matos Rosa trimming the speed. Here they are again. At this point they already had a commanding lead. This was the last downwind with Vasco. Did a very good recovery from 4th to 2nd. Here, after crossing the line and winning the race, the crew with Michael
Hollywood
very
moment.
happy.
Hollywood moment.
Yes,
Turn
yes.
for the camera.
Very
Forget the
happy.
spinnaker.
Also some footage from the finishing line.
Meteor and
As you can see, there were several boats that come crossing the finishing line with camera moments, photo finishing moments.
Sebastian never should have told them they were on TV. Bad idea.
As you can see, this will have some impact on the overall leaderboard. The winning team again here.
And one of those guys will be calculating it already, I promise you.
All of them.
Yeah.
So this was the first race of the day, with the 4th race of this 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy, held by Clube Naval de Cascais on a very light day that started from east with a wind that was a little bit stronger than what we have today, or what we have now. It shifted to west. We needed to move the race course a little bit even more to the west. We started with 8 knots of wind on this first race of the day, and the wind just kept dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. We are now waiting to know from the water if we're going to have conditions to do another race. That should be the last, if it goes through, it should be the last race of this trophy. How do you see this going?
I have a horrible suspicion that the wind's dropping. And if
Nikki just looked back because the water is over there.
yeah, sorry, can't break the habit of a sailor. And basically, it's if it goes below 5 knots, they won't be able to start the race.
Good. So here we are in lovely Cascais, and we are having a perfect day to sail, even a perfect day for go to the beach and have some sun. And
It's a good idea.
we think that we will be able to try and use the time that we have to make another race. We'll go out on a moment, and we'll come back with more info regarding the last race. Thank you for watching, and we will be back soon.
See you later.
See you later.
parado, hoje foi um dia que correu um bocadinho melhor.
Sim.
Como é que foi o dia de hoje?
Portanto, ontem foi parado porque não havia vento, não é? Portanto, não havia condições para a organização a realizar as regatas e essas tiveram que ser adiadas para hoje. Hoje as condições estavam muito boas, estavam espetaculares. Para nós começámos bem, mas a última regata nós largámos adiantados, portanto fomos desclassificados à largada. Devíamos estar em terceiro ou segundo da classificação, tivemos um terceiro e um quarto e agora vamos esperar que amanhã possa-se realizar regatas suficientes para haver um descarte, porque assim nós podemos tirar esta desclassificação. E com o terceiro e o quarto e os resultados que tivermos amanhã, ter aqui esperanças de poder fazer aqui um resultado engraçado.
O que é que se espera para amanhã?
A previsão está para vento fraco, mais fraco que hoje, parecido com ontem. Mas pronto, faz parte, é o desporto da vela e cá estaremos. Se tiverem condições para se fazer as regatas, depois vamos dar tudo.
Isto é uma regata com 20 barcos?
São 20 equipas, sim.
Não é normal aqui em Cascais haver este tipo de...
Antes da pandemia havia regatas aqui com muitos barcos, é que a pandemia acabou por atrasar um bocadinho aqui o crescimento da nossa frota local. Sim, e tem havido também muitas provas em Vila Moura, que atraíram muitas tripulações estrangeiras que depois ficaram cá para esta altura do ano poderem fazer também o Juan Carlos e talvez o Campeonato Nacional, que é para o mês que vem. E para o ano temos o Campeonato do Mundo de Dragões em Vila Moura em maio e devemos ter muitas equipas em Portugal durante o inverno a treinar, tanto em Vila Moura como em Cascais.
Yesterday was a little bit of bad weather.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot. Today, much better. How was it for you yesterday?
Yeah.
Mindset and today, how was the day?
Well, look, the first thing is it's great to be in Cascais. Always fantastic sailing here. Today the conditions were really good. It was quite light conditions, but it was really it was good. It was a steady breeze, really fair sailing, and we had a great time. Really enjoyed it. We had a great start in the first race, but we threw all the way on the first beat by overstanding for the first mark. But overall, we're really happy. We had good speed downwind, and we found some good wind too, and so we're happy with the results. And yeah, so it's we're hoping for more racing tomorrow. Another opportunity to to catch up with the leaders, maybe.
It was really tight today. I think it was on the first race. Everyone was like coming to the finish line like all together.
Yeah.
How are you feeling the other contestants and
Well,
together?
the competition here is fantastic. You know, there was a lot of snakes and ladders, and on the downwind, we really made some good gains today. So it was all to play for, right up to this finish line. So really awesome, and you know, we're just so glad to be sailing against so many great teams here in this wonderful part of Portugal.
How do you foresee tomorrow?
Well, we know that the forecast is, is for light. So fingers crossed that we're going to get out there racing in the afternoon.
We will. So, have you been to Cascais before?
Many times.
Many times?
My first time ever in a dragon was sailing here in 2013. So we've been sailing for nearly, on and off for over 10 years now here.
So, I think this is the first time since COVID that we have so many dragons all together.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
It's great. It's special. It's wonderful. You know, we were very fortunate in 2019. We won the Juan Carlos. So back here fighting, you know, for what is in sailing and dragons, it's really one of the most amazing trophies to win. So so Andy's doing a really good job, and Pravetsa. But you know, we're all going to be hunting tomorrow.
And I think you will give a good fight. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. I'm Nuno Ferreira and I'm here with Nicky Hilton. We are your commentators for today. We still don't have race results or leaderboard results for this last race. We are with the new information that we are under 10 minutes to the start of the next race. So with all things continuing to be as they are, we are going to have the last race of the day and the last race of this last day of the 29th edition of this His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy. Still without results? Anything that we can say?
Well, I think we can safely say that Praveza is still in the lead with Andy Beatsworth, because yesterday he had a 2-2-1 result over the 3 races, and albeit he was in the middle of the fleet,
He will discard this.
He'll discard this afternoon's race, the first race this afternoon. So I can't see that position changing. It'll be interesting between Grant Gordon, who you saw earlier being interviewed, and Klaus Dietrich. because they went into today on equal points. Both would be discarding a number sixth place, so that will come down to whether they were better than sixth today, which they were. But I didn't see Klaus so much in the race, so I think Grant probably had a better result. Also, Blue Haze is going to move up because they were right up there.
Okay. So we are going.
Yeah, there's going to be a few changes.
Good. So we are going to go live with an interview with the race winners from the previous race.
The next one, and how is this day? Oh, the day is perfect, and we try to start again very good and find the correct side, and then maybe we have another chance.
Perfect. Good luck for the next one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So here we are back from the water. Zezi with the interview on the water. We are waiting for the results from this previous race, and we are under 6 minutes for the start of the next race. Conditions are steady on 8 knots of wind coming from 280 to 90, so it's going almost to the north.
Which is the predominant wind here.
Yes, here, but it was not supposed to, from what we were expecting on the forecast.
So anything could happen on the race course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have 5 minutes for the start of the next race, and the hole will be very close in the top. We are looking, as Nikki told us, Blue Haze also will have a discard from the race of yesterday, from what we can see from what we accompanied in the race previously, and we will have the group getting closer and closer and closer in the front, and it will be an all or nothing race for some of the guys out there. Wind still at 8 knots and not too much to go. We were talking a little bit earlier, and you told me you used to sail a lot this class.
For sure.
You also helmed.
Yeah, I started helming actually when I first moved into the class, and then later on I moved back into crewing, and I was the middle position. Not totally ideal for a female because the ideal size is 95 kilos and 2 meters tall, and I wasn't either of those. But I enjoyed that position a lot because it's generally the middle person who is not dictating, but discussing the tactics a lot and doing a lot of looking around the fleet, and you could see that on the race today. When you're going downwind, it's the foredeck who's up on the front end of the boat who's looking around for the wind shifts. And as you could see from the way today's race worked and played out, it was a lot to do with where the pressure was on the course. And this is where the dragons get you have to be really quite tactical in the dragons and really know where you are on the course and what the wind conditions are going to do, because you can lose so much distance getting it wrong. I mean, you could see a couple of guys tacking there, and they were tacking in no wind, and the boat just stopped.
Like you told us, it takes a lot of time building up speed.
Yeah, but that can work for you as well. You can maintain your momentum into going into marks, etc., and do what they call shooting the mark. I mean, pointing the boat up almost head to wind and using the momentum of the boat to get round. So it swings and roundabouts.
I have the classifications.
Ah, excellent.
From the previous race, and we have a protest. So we have a protest against Blue Haze.
Yeah, we saw that incident, didn't we?
From
Pedro.
Portugal, yes, from Pedro.
Yeah, we saw that situation happening.
So, one of the boats that was able to attack, so to speak, the lead of Professor Dragon and Andy now has an outstanding protest against them, and we think that he actually had a 5th position, so it would not attack the position of Andy, but it would be getting closer to it in terms
Yeah,
of
he's going to have to
points.
he's going to have to sail conservatively in the last race, not push the start line and
Andy.
just Andy.
Andy.
He can't afford to.
Andy, let's see
get into
where
trouble.
Andy did the 7th, but he
Seventh,
will
okay.
drop the 7th.
Mhm.
And Louise Racing did a 10th.
Okay, that would be
he'll
their
also-
discard.
They will
Yeah.
also discard that one. And Fever did a 9th. He will also discard that. Blue Haze did a 5th, and he will try to keep that one.
It's already updated on the website.
It's already updated on the website, so everybody can go and take a look at it. We will try to do the same.
And we'd expect Pedro to move up
The order,
order.
yes.
Yeah.
He had a 4th, yes. So we'll have a 3rd, a 4th, and a 4th. Racing are getting really close to the start. We are under 1 minute to the start of this race. So let's go back to our screens.
Looks like they're lining up quite evenly on the start line. A couple of guys trying to come down with speed to the pin.
It seems to be a little bit breezier than what it was in the end of the race. So Manuel Rocha is the first boat on the left hand side. I hear 2 beeps, so some of
That was
them are
Over.
over the line. 492. Who is 492? 490 easy. Or should be 42. I don't know. Okay. So on the left hand side we have Manuel Rocha.
Then the second one's confusing me because it's
It's actually not the number that we have on our records.
exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
On the right hand side we have Bork and we have Grant Gordon.
Gordon.
So on the right hand side, attacking, Louise Racing is attacking. We can't still find Andy.
And that looks like somebody might have gone back because they're a long way behind.
Can we find Turkish 12? So at the moment we'll be trying to look and find
Reversa.
course number 2.
Most boats seem to be going to the right at the moment.
We are receiving here some information from the race course. Manuel Rocha here coming to the left hand side.
He's the Portuguese class chairman. And an experienced dragon sailor. And as we were discussing before, that's 3 people sitting on the side deck, which means there's good pressure in the sails. They're about to tack,
Okay.
and with them
Simultaneous
tacks the boat.
jam. Yes. The one that
Exactly.
we don't know who it is.
Yeah, demonstrating symmetry there.
Everybody going to the right at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment they look a little bit headed on this. There's Grant Gordon. Up their finish.
So
They're doing 2 legs downhill or 1?
So basically now we are doing a different race course than the one we had in the previous race. We are going with race course number 2, which means that the finish will not be downwind but upwind.
That's not uncommon when it's the last race of the day.
To get closer to the crane.
In this wind direction, yes. That's always the best one to win, actually.
I have a good friend of mine that says that there are always 2 races in the last day. The
Yeah.
one on the water and the one to the crane.
But the Dragon class, being very civilized, has already identified the guys who are actually packing up and leaving tonight, and they get to go first. under the crane.
Well, they actually asked for that to happen. Let's see how polite they are.
Oh, trust me, they are.
Okay.
Well, don't forget, these guys are sailing a lot of regattas against each other, and we all have long memories. That's Jay Burke again.
So, 2 upwind legs, 2 downwind legs, and then 1 extra upwind leg to finish. Thank you, Zazie, and thank you, Sebastian.
That's Michael Sankler, I think.
You would.
No, it isn't.
So it does seem
seem
to
to-
have, at the moment,
bet
it
good
seems to have
pressure.
good pressure. Yes.
Yeah, it's not Michael Sankler.
That
Not with the,
it
it's got a
seems
water
George
line.
Lima
Yeah.
and Swedish 800. So
But that's
misbehavior.
George
It's a little bit in the front.
If that's George Lima, then it's Tim Taverner.
Your friend.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, it seems to be George Lima. Does it seem to be Tim?
No, I don't think it is. Well,
Sorry.
hello, here comes Portugal. Oops. 66, so that would have been Vasco.
Yes. But some of the boats seem to have a little bit more pressure on that side. Again, we could be easily misfooled by
Yeah, it
the
depends on-
perspective of the camera.
No, it's so hard to
But
tell.
on this side, it does seem to be a little bit better than the last race.
Depending on the perspective, it looks like everybody's in one line. That's as the camera moves around.
So-
Another lovely shot of Jay. He'll like that.
Okay, Manuel is crossing in front of these 2 boats.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Portuguese as well. I can see it, not the number.
Yeah, when
But
everyone,
even by the sound, it seems that it's a little bit more breezier.
Yeah. But not only are the boats all white, the crew are normally wearing white or black these days. Consequently, it's hard to tell them apart.
You should make them. You should
Make them wear
Yeah.
different colours.
As you are so tight with the class, you should
Yeah.
say something about it. You need to start wearing flags on the mains or something. Like
Oh,
that.
nationalities or something. Ooh,
Okay.
somebody's tacking, interestingly. He tacked onto
Forced.
starboard.
Yes,
Yeah,
forced
then
it.
forced the other guy out. Oh, that wasn't very pleasant. The middle, and so often actually, sometimes you find that the very middle of the course ends up being the lightest wind, and the guys on the left and the right seem to come in
Especially
from either
because
side, and the middle kind of goes, oh,
and especially because in the middle we have a lot of fights. And
exactly, and
they just stop each
sailing in bad air is not funny.
other. And with these boats, every time you attack, you
Yeah,
need to.
402 is Peter Cook that has Torvar Mirsky on board, who's a very well known and famous sailor.
So the leader of the winner of the first race seemed to be here in the middle of 2 boats at the moment. So perhaps not leading this one, not perhaps, but for sure. On this left-hand side, it seems to be a little bit lighter. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly got crew sitting in, which we weren't seeing a moment ago. And that's sometimes in these race conditions, and you're crewing, you feel like you're in, out, in, out. You spend your life going up and down and up and down,
And you
trying to keep pressure on the sails. And he's getting a little bit of a lift now, it seems, on this angle. But it
so
is the wind's
9 knots from west, so it's
still 9,
still 9,
do you think?
at least on the race committee. That's what the reading just come.
Yeah, it's the one that counts.
I would say that on this place with wind coming from the west,
On the other, that's Xavier.
it
That-
seems to be a little bit windier on the race starting
Yeah.
line than on the middle of the race course.
But Xavier looks like he's got reasonable wind there. wind
But
there.
everybody is on the leeward side on that boat.
Yeah. There's Lars Hendrickson with.
So I would say
Either
they
side
started
way.
with more wind than they have now. because they started with most of the crew members on the windward side, and now we
Yeah.
can see most of the boats with everybody on the leeward side. These should be the boats more to the left, I would say.
Yeah. It might just be the camera angle, but it looked like the guy on the left who's just disappeared from our screen was being headed a bit relative to the one who's on our left now. But it just could be the angle. Ah,
Okay.
more Jay Burke.
More J. Burke.
He's going to love that.
He was. Why?
In his very early days, he modelled a bit.
Ah, okay.
He's going to kill me for saying that.
I love this. So back on the right hand side of the race course, I would say this should be the most right hand side boat. Here
That's Blue Haze, 375.
and Enrique Bridge,
Yes, I didn't catch the number as he went past.
it was Por 44, so I think
Okay,
it's Enrique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very big separation at the moment between the Irish boats and the Portuguese 44. They're
It should be, looks like Jay tacking.
Let's try to see if it's in the ley line. Do you see the marks?
If they've got a rib
There,
behind
over
them,
there,
they were
yes.
over there.
There.
Over on the right. Yeah, we're both pointing to the right of the screen. It's very
Yes.
helpful.
Yes. I hope that everybody in the house can see exactly how hard we are trying to
Yes,
show
see.
where the marks are. Let's go to see. We are in a moment. We can try to see the leaderboard classification.
Yes, that would
that
be
would
really
be-
useful.
Yes.
Yeah, and very interesting.
Here we go.
As we said that Preveza, Turkey 12, would be dropping.
Every number that
The
you see with the
result?
minus in front, it's the discard that people had.
So Blue Haze has moved up to second place.
Has-
That's with Lars
And as you
Hendrickson.
see, Pedro Rebelden also moved up. It's now in third position.
Mhm.
Still with
And
a very
820 is Grant, who's still going to be leading Klaus Dietrich. they're good friends, so that's there's going to be plenty of chat in the bar about that.
So we have 4 points separating first from second.
And then two,
And
second
then
to
two,
third.
and
Yeah, and then you've got Grant and Klaus on 13.
I would say that we have a very close group.
Yeah, the guys who are in fourth to seventh, I mean, that could just change
So
so
the-
easily.
So the podium, it's going to be very hard fought for this 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy. And let's go back to the water and trying to, with all this information, trying to see exactly what we can
Work out.
of it. So we are looking for Port 89, Tur 12, and in second position was still Louise Racing, right?
It should be. Belgian 88 is
So
Guys
GBR
is
82.
Guy Solis on the right hand side there. That's Guy from Belgium. And hopefully we'll get another shot of who's with him. But anyway, we're getting a very nice look at his sail shape. Can critique it later. Ah, missed the sail number on the next boat.
I'm trying to find something.
So, as the last race, it's quite spread out at the moment. And they're all coming towards the weather mark. And
We would like to try to see Turkish 12 and Port 89. That will be try to see. I'm going to try to find more information about.
right, it's looking quite light up at this mark.
We do have some boats that are already on the ley line.
Yep, that looks like Grant Gordon should be on the ley line. He's to weather it, as in further towards the wind than the guys beside him.
GBR
12. Seems odd. That's an ex-Preveza sail. Somebody's tacking.
Okay, from the front I don't see anybody yet on the ley line. Here we go.
Yeah.
We have
Portugal
Pedro,
89.
yes,
Pedro.
closely followed by,
Meteor.
and it's crossing behind.
Peter Cook.
So he's in the middle of the pack, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's
So
for sure.
quite a few people are going to be attacking this
So,
mark on port.
At the moment we have Preveza, Dragon, Blue Haze and Saturn from Pedro Rebelo de Andrade holding the 3 positions on the overall leaderboard.
Yeah, they're getting ready to.
But this is the
That's
offset
Luke
mark.
Patience, yeah.
And this is the offset mark.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Luke
no, this is the upwind mark. They are attacking immediately.
That's Luke Patience in the middle there, a silver Olympic medalist. That was Pedro Andrade we could see.
Yeah, I think he's over there in the middle
Yeah.
of the pack. Attacking, he will be 4th or 5th in the mark.
So if we're right, that should be Louise Racing first.
Oh, do you see that one? It's going to be a protest for sure.
Somebody's not struggling to make the mark, and they've just caused themselves. Oh,
That's nasty.
That is not good. Didn't make the mark. Oh dear.
And GBR 12.
Yeah.
So, Team Tavinon.
Yeah, my old hell.
You're not there to help.
He does like port ley lines. He always did when Thomas and I sailed with him.
So everything is
Everybody's-
from 3rd to whatever. Everybody's
You get
close
the
together.
impression that either the wind died or there was a bit of a shift
Yes.
because they're all struggling to make that ley line, and they don't normally
So leading we have
push it
Louis
that way.
Racing
Yes.
from Grant Gordon, which is actually where he wants to be in this race. He's closely being followed by Misbehavior that decided to do jibe immediately. We have Enrique Bridges doing a penalty turn here on these boats.
Always
Surely
unpleasant.
it's sure.
Always unpleasant to do.
So poor 66. It was Vasco Serpa in down the order as well. So not a good first upwind.
Grant is one of the few guys who's sailing with 4 crew. They'll be under the maximum weight of 285 kilos with the 4 of them, and he has got a lot of talent on board.
So the winners of the first race are now just around the mark.
That's Blue Haze coming in, 375.
Our Irish friend that went all the way to the
Yeah,
right hand
Jay.
side, only now rounding
Ah.
the mark.
Yeah, and they're driving
Fever
the Jake.
that yesterday was on 3rd place overall, it's only now rounding. And Andy, it's now rounding the mark.
Yeah,
So Louise Racing leading and is in a real strong position to make a good comeback and perhaps still the winning of everything. I have here the results.
what is Louise Racing is dropping a 7th? Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So Andy needs to.
So Andy dropped a 7th
Yeah, Andy the drop the 7th.
and it's going to need to drop this one and stay with the 7th. So let's do the math later on, but at the moment everything is orchestrated so that this boat can hunt down that first position, and it will be everybody with a calculator when the race comes to an end.
Absolutely, but I mean, with the amount of talent that's on that boat, I wouldn't expect them to fall from that position. They'll stay. I would expect them to stay first.
I have several friends that have never sailed before, and every time I show them something like this, they tell me, "Dude, this is so boring. How can it be fantastic?" And we just told you how fantastic it can be, because it's going to be calculator on in the finishing line just to make sure that it will be either Grant to win it or Andy at the moment, of course. Everything can happen. We are in the middle of, or in the beginning of this final race. We already know that it's going to be the final race of this trophy. And in the moment, the team of Andy Bithworth has a lot to do. Let's see if they can. Again, like in the first race, the leading boat has a good and commanding and solid advantage over the second. And second, third, fourth, they are all a little bit higher, sailing higher angles to try to defend each other. And that will give Grant a chance to even open up a little bit more of a gap in the front.
Yeah, he's got good pressure in his spinnaker, she says, as it immediately flutters. Whereas the guys who were going round the mark that we caught on camera just then looked like they were sailing in lighter pressure. So I'd be worried about the wind dying.
Or
or
it could just be that is west, and west it's a little bit more get together when closer to the start.
Whenever you're leading in these conditions, you just spend the entire race going, "Oh, please don't let the wind die." Please, please.
It can be shortened.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's
I
a very
don't see
experienced
the race
race
committee
officer
doing it. We know the race committee.
Exactly.
So we are still.
Oh, he's just jibed. Grant.
Okay.
He's maybe worrying about more pressure out there.
Because on the left side of our screen, we see a boat that it's coming with a strange angle.
Yeah, sailing downwind when there's not much wind is it really tests your patience and your faith.
On these boats, you would say that makes a greater difference on a downwind leg like this to find more wind or to find a good wind shift?
Yeah, that's rather like yeah, which one? Pressure is pretty much everything because that's a heavy boat that you're having to move. But yeah, I think you'd
It's getting really
choose
light here.
I think you choose pressure in these conditions. I'd choose pressure over angle.
And you would say that they are with more difficult to hold their spinnaker up than the boats that we just see closer to shore?
Well, judging by the way that's collapsing, yes.
Well, this is something you don't want to see when you're inside a boat leading like it was when it passed that.
That won't be
upwind
the
mark.
fault of the crew, I can promise you. They're far too good. But the guys on behind on the left seem to have pressure. I mean, there's the blue spinnaker's moving quite quickly.
Yeah. It seems in the middle,
Yeah.
like you told,
The middle, of course, is where you have to be when
Less
you're covering the fleet, but
but it's
yeah,
less pressure.
yeah, but it's less pressure. Happens so often. I think it's the gods trying to force you to choose.
You know, I don't remember the name of the book that said when you want to go sailing, get nervous and get used to it.
That sounds like something out of Curtis or somebody. There's a picture of geese at least.
But I read that when I was a kid, and I think
Yeah.
it stuck with me.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm trying to teach something, especially helmsmen, learning how to start, and they are getting nervous, I say, first rule of sailing, get nervous and get used
Well,
to it.
back in the 80s, there was a joke book that when you opened it up, it had on the first page, start first, go fast. And then there was nothing else on any of the other pages.
So, now they seems to have a little bit more breeze on their kite than when we spoke a little bit earlier.
So it's
The
a good
fleet
decision.
is really spread throughout the race course.
Everybody trying to keep clear air, everybody trying to find wind. But you do get the impression that's dying a bit, don't you? I'm looking to you, the experienced person on the bay.
No. I think you sailed more on the bay than I did. But it does seems to be lighter and lighter. Again,
But the committee will be aware of that.
and the information we get from the committee is that we still have 8 to 9 knots. Strange.
I'm just checking on.
Your dark channel.
Yeah, my secret mole on the committee boat isn't saying anything.
Yeah, but now it seems to have a little bit more pressure than when we talked a little bit earlier.
But you can always tell when people are nervous when they're hardly moving.
Yes. Misbehavior still manages to keep in contact.
She said probably it was misbehavior that they went over to keep between her and the mark.
Because they seem to be sailing a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think they were wanting to protect themselves.
Yes, they jibe to come here to this our right-hand side.
They'll be very aware of who is close to them on points.
They need to put as many boats as they can between themselves and
Andy.
Perveza, yes.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit rocky there.
So, next mark we should try to count, and we like to help and ask for help of everybody to try to count how many boats we have between this boat and 12.
I'm poised with pencil to write them down.
The marks, as you can see, they are here. We are now blocking the marks. Sorry, guys, but the marks just appeared. In the middle, misbehavior just jibe as well to try to keep clear air from.
Yeah, they didn't want to sail out in front of those 4.
Yeah, but it seems to be a bit windier than we thought from this image. As you can
there's
see,
always that comment, the camera lies.
that's what I see.
Yeah.
Jibing in front is Louise Racing with Grant Gordon, Luke Patience,
and
Faye
Faye
Shatterton.
Shatterton.
Elliot
She's
Harrison.
she's a young girl from the Burnham area, and is in the UK Olympic squad. Luke obviously has a silver medal, and I believe Elliot has sailed the Olympics in laser class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recently
Yeah. So a lot of talent.
on that boat, on this boat.
Yeah. Luke was sailing in the last Olympics too.
Me?
Luke Patience.
No, I was
Sorry.
boat.
He was 470s, I think.
Okay. The wind shifted.
They're changing the course, perhaps, of the wind shifting.
wind-
Yeah, that's sound
yes, yes,
signals.
yes.
They're shifting the course.
Wind
direction.
went to the left, so it's southwest now, and 6 knots of wind.
Okay, 8:20 round.
So you can hear the guns constantly being horned or bowled, I don't know.
Making noises anyway.
Yes, constant noises
And then
of that boat that is in the middle of the yellow marks, which
Yeah.
is a committee boat that is signaling change of course, which means that from this perspective the upwind marks went to the left because the wind went to the left as well. And coming to the left we have
GPR,
402
that's Peter Cook.
Peter Cook. And now we have Pedro Rebelo Andrade now going to the left as well. Let's go to the other image, good. Over there we have... Don't
Hard
see it,
to see, but one.
let's make another one, yes. This could be the Turkish boat because it's a red spinnaker. Let's see if we can see the number
Yeah,
of
but the one on the
maiden.
right's going to go round first.
Okay. And this one, it's not Turkish 12.
Oh. It's
So
confusing.
It's a
The other.
47 or something like
Yeah.
that. And now driving is somebody else that you don't see. And perhaps behind them is
Okay.
Turkish. Yes. On this side, on the other side. Let's see if it's Turkey on the other side. Let's look at the other side, please. Now we have the Borg. I think now it's
It's
Turkish
Turkish.
running.
So that
On the
should be
right-hand
1, 2,
side.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 or 9 boats between him and Grant Gordon. So that would be Professor having to drop 8 rather than dropping 7.
Okay. And they were separated, let me just double check. They were separated by 4 points in the overall leaderboard. Okay, so the wind went left and died a little bit, so we went from 8 to 6 knots, and it went from west to southwest.
Well, certainly the first 2 boats have decided to come this way.
So we had 2 on this side and 2 on the other side as well. Like you tell, a lot of talent on this boat.
Exactly. Looking very much typical middleman, looking to the back and checking where everybody else in the fleet is. Studying the angles, studying the positions.
Those who don't know so much about sailing say, come on, the boat is going in front and you're looking behind. Yes, I'm in the lead. I need to double check what's happening behind me.
Yeah.
So as you can see down on our right hand side with the Charlie flag up, it's the race committee boat signaling that there is a change of course, and that's what this angle is completely strange.
Yeah.
To that one. So very strange angle on the boats going upwind on the left
Yeah, they're getting really
headed. But then they arrive in the middle of the race and they get
lifted.
lifted.
Sort of day that does the poor tactician is going to have a headache at the end of today.
Well, normally when it's light, it's when you need more concentration and you need to find.
Oh gosh,
more
don't you?
things. Yes.
Keep drinking water and hope it gets better.
Drinking what?
Water. Sadly, anything else isn't an option. That's Jan Secker again. He's got Richard Sydenham on board with him, who's did his Olympic campaign with Andy Beesworth. There's a lot of people who sailed with each other, and they're all on different boats now.
So 3 Portuguese followed,
Yeah, it's
one
friendly.
by the other,
It's friendly.
closing the fleet and coming to the left-hand side. Very strange image that we had a while ago with that different sort of angle on port side. But now they seem to be with the same wind as
Yeah, it looks
everybody.
like it's increased slightly because we could see there was.
Whose boat is this?
It is.
José
It's
Paulo
not
Calada.
harder. It's the E that's the confusing bit.
Himself a world champion,
Yeah,
SB20 class.
he's an extremely consistent sailor on the bay. I mean, I always see him winning.
So talent it's not short of in this bay today.
No, that's fairly typical of the Dragon class. No, Grant's doing a good job there.
You seem that the boat more to the right seems to be a little bit more lifted than this one.
Yeah, but might be the angle of the camera, but it didn't look like he was in more pressure, so might not be too disastrous. It's just crossing that middle patch seems to be slow. That middle area of the course.
King Tavinor is coming to the left hand side. You're old.
Yeah. Well, he does like port ley line approaches.
So it goes left.
Yeah, quite often. It used to make us rather nervous coming in on 100 boats, port ley line.
Did he
Fantastic.
made a penalty turn?
I
We didn't see it,
We didn't see it.
but for sure
Yeah,
it's going
he
to be penalized.
yeah.
In my opinion, at least.
I mean, he's a very clean sailor, so if he fouled anybody, he would be the first person to
to admit it.
admit it.
So we are looking here in the left hand side of our screen. We can see the upwind mark. So this boat perhaps could be on the ley line on the right hand side, right, the starboard ley line
Yeah.
to the mark.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Mm.
No, this is the second. This is
Upwind.
the second upwind. Then we have another downwind, and then we have this is the second lap for yes. If the course was not shortened, that we don't have any information of it. This is the second upwind.
Yeah, we didn't see any. Doesn't-
There's
they might
only
have
one
been
downwind.
They might have shortened it. We're just checking that. But anyway, that's another beautiful picture.
That's it.
So you can see the two marks in the middle of the screen there. And boy, is it light up there.
Well, there's one of them that is definitely in trouble to do that ley line.
Yeah. My impression is that everybody's getting headed to the guys who came in from the left
I think it's
are getting
moving.
headed and the guys who are coming from the right are getting headed. They're just...
It's a matter of perspective. Every
Yeah.
time that
Yeah,
drone moves a
it's
bit,
right,
we say,
yeah.
okay, now he has it.
that looks comfortable for getting to the
yeah,
mark.
it seems. But,
But
I would say that misbehavior is doing a fantastic job to stay in touch.
Yeah. And
it's
clearly
going-
has decided there's no point fighting it out, just go the same way and hope you get lucky.
I would say he's going to fight it out in the next downwind.
Okay.
It's close enough to attack.
Oh yeah. And sit on the boat in front's wind and see what happens.
Again, a book that I didn't read, that I don't remember the name of, but it was Tactics. It said, first upwind, stay cool. First downwind, stay cool. Second upwind, stay cool. Or start to plan the attack, and then attack on
Go
the
for it.
downwind. Yes, I would say he's going for it. He has nothing to lose. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth boat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to. Here we can see better the numbers on this. No,
So you
this
got
is
four-
this is the third boat. So that's the third boat.
That's the Swedish number. That's
That's
misbehavior.
misbehavior.
That's
So
number
second, yes.
Mhm. Good.
Then we have Peter Cook.
Yeah.
Then we have Pedro Rebelo de Andrade in fourth.
He's going to be doing moving up the fleet
Yes.
with that result.
So Belgium 88.
8, which will be Xavier.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Belgium 88. No, that's
Do you want to write it down?
he's, yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So he was 6th round. No.
Belgium 82
82
is
is
6.
6.
No,
Yeah.
Belgium 82 is 6.
That's very kind of them to go together.
So Javier Vaness.
Xavier Vaness, yeah. Vanest.
Then we have another Portuguese. It's going to be Manuel Rocha.
That's a good result for him.
Very good race for him. GBR, which is Fever.
Yeah, who was close with Grant, but he'll
And then
lose that now.
afterwards, it seems to be another Portuguese.
Vasco, maybe?
I don't know. Let's go to the end. We will either we wait, and then it's your Irish friend. So another Portuguese over there. GBR 12. Then it should be Vasco, and then the Irish.
Go on, Joe.
Okay, we have Michael here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael is in front of GBR12 and Vasco as well.
There's
And
Jay
Bob.
Burke.
So
Alright.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, the kite went down.
Oops, slipped in the cleat.
Turkish 12 in front of Vasco.
So one at 13th.
Yes, so more or less the same, right?
Yeah.
So again. As we thought, the two guys in the front are battling each other out.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go to the front and try to see that battle. It should be interesting to see who's going to get to the gate in front. Who's your money on?
The talent.
So here we are in the front and still holding the lead. We still have Louis Racing with Grant Gordon, Luke Patient, Faye Shatterton and Elliot Hansen. Closely followed by Misbehavior with Jan Secker
Richard Sydenham
and
and Gerard Mitchell.
very good, thank you very
Gerard
much.
Mitchell.
You come to my aid with the names.
We see, my trouble is I'm Scottish and so is Grant. As you can see, there's a Scottish flag on the side of the boat, so I'm prejudiced.
Ah, so that's why you're betting on him.
Yeah, for sure. And he's also.
And you
very-
raced against him?
Actually, no, because we sold one of our second last boat to him in 2013 when he joined the class. So his first boat was one of our.
And Jan? Did you
uh,
race against Jan?
No, I first met him in Medemblik when Thomas was doing race committee work. I think it must have been 2017 or something like that. So he's quite new into the class. Grant was 2013 from memory. Well, I know from memory actually, because that's when we sold the boat to him.
First, second place.
This is first and second place. And we also have. Can you tell me a little bit about the second boat? That wooden panel over there. It's the boat itself. It's wooden.
No, it's a fiberglass boat, I believe, with a wooden deck.
Okay, modern boats.
Modern boat, yeah. But I mean, Jan appeared, as I said, he's relatively recent in the rowing class, but he was instantly pretty successful. So he's always had very good crew.
Grand.
Grant equally has always had very good crew.
Okay. So Pedro will do. He's in fourth position at the moment. So he does 2 fourth positions today.
Yeah, that will move him up, but he. Yeah, because he had to.
But the big question
stuff.
is how it's going to be with Andy.
Yes, he will not be happy if he throws this away. As he was looking to have his third one, King Juan Carlos.
Oui. Big change on movement.
Yeah, it looked like a pressure difference. There's Klaus Dietrich with Jamie Lee on the foredeck, by the looks of it.
Behind, yes.
Yeah. Not a good
1,
day on the
2,
water
3,
for
4,
Klaus.
5, 6, 7, 8, at least 8.
Yeah,
least
he
8th
started the day
place.
in third place, but he won't. I don't think he's going to hang on to that.
No,
This
at
is
the moment he wasn't.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
This is getting quite tricky, I'd have to say, these two. The moment, early takedown, possibly quite sensible, but I'd
Do you
say...
think it's overlap?
Or is it?
Yes, overlap. They are overlapped, so we have an overtaking.
Yeah.
So new leader. This is helping Andy, that's for sure. Grant going
and Grant down to get try and
clear
get
air.
and some speed on the boat. I would be surprised if he doesn't tack Nancy Fields. Yeah, but I mean, certainly Misbehavior came in just at the last bit of that with more wind pressure. I think it was all to do with the pressure and the breeze.
So I told you, it wasn't.
Plus the fact he has the World Match Racing champion on board. And this is a match racing situation.
Yes. So, changing on the leading boat of this second race of the day and last race of this 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy. The biggest issue now was to try to determine how many boats were between now the second boat and Professor Dragon with Andy at the helm, to try to calculate how that would end up and see if they could be also change on the overall classification, and helping to confuse a little bit more. Misbehavior just managed to overtake.
But the interesting thing is you can see that Grant's come with him to the right-hand side of the course, so they must be very sure that that's where they have to go, because he's had to sail very low
to get there.
To get there.
So he wants to get to either more wind or a big wind shift to try to tack and force.
And what it's allowed misbehavior to do is to sail high and with speed, and Grant's had to sail low to maintain speed.
On this left-hand side, it seems to be a good breeze.
Well,
Pedro went on this side as well.
and you'd never bet against Pedro.
So you have first, second and third going to the right-hand side, fourth going to the left-hand side.
But that
Let's
marked
see.
rounding cost Grant quite a bit of distance.
This is going to be the last upwind,
Yes.
so the finish line will be just in front of this boat. If it was course 1,
We'd have already finished.
yes, and interestingly enough, Grant would have won it,
Yes.
because Grant was leading this
Yeah.
at this line between these two marks, but he was forced to open space for misbehavior to pass under the rules of running marks. We are going now to try and do. Okay, we just received a message that Proveza and Blue Ace will not finish race number 5.
Oh, okay.
We are trying to confirm this.
Well, if they were in results that they couldn't improve, if they were in positions that they were going to discard, and they're packing up and going home tonight, then that might be one reason. Or, but Blue Haze was reasonably up there, I thought. We will find out.
Okay. Do you think that he was in a position that he was already in second position, he will not be able to win, and he will not lose second position, and he decided to enter shore?
Well, if that was going to be his worst result, this race,
Yes,
and he didn't think he could improve on it,
he could.
then
He's
then
going
he-
to discard it anyway.
Yeah. So
Okay, so this one is discarded for Professor for sure, which means that he will bear a 7th, a second, and a first.
and whatever he was
No,
in the
here is
first race.
discard. It was a 7th? Yes, I think so.
Yeah, it was the 7th.
Let me
Yeah,
just
it was the
double
7th.
check. Yes. It was the 7th, yes, that was his discard. And so let's go to the math. 2, 2, 1,
1 and 7.
yes. And here we will have 1, 3, 5, and second.
For Louise, racing, no,
Yes.
that she's not in first place at the moment, she's in second
Second.
place.
Yeah, but she has the second place.
So 2 points.
Oh no, Blue Haze was in second position. So first and second they are out. So Louise has a 6th, a 5th, a 2nd.
So she drops the 6th.
No, she's going to drop a 10th.
Okay.
So she now has a 2nd.
Mm.
I
We're
think
just doing the
Professor-
maths here.
Professor still wins.
Yeah.
That's why you went to the green. And Blue hates that it was in second position because it moved all the way up. Also, is in Ukraine. Okay, so we are getting closer to the finishing line. The finishing line is between this white boat with the orange flag and that yellow mark. First boat coming close is this one, so here it is, Misbehavior, with Jan Secker, Richard Sidenman and Gerard Mitchell.
And good breeze.
The wind picked up a little bit again. Closely followed by Louise Racing with Grant Gordon, Luke Patient, Faye Shatterton and Elliot Hansen. And let's see if Pedro Rebelo de Andrade, that went all the way to the left, managed to overtake the boat that was in third position or not. Pedro also needs to defend and attack Louise Racing because after the last race they were in distance by 2 points.
Okay. This is Peter Cook, who is he is quite new to the class, and is doing very well. Yeah.
So first boat to cross the line in just a few seconds. Misbehavior winning the final race of this 29th edition of His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy here in Club Naval de Cascais.
Always a good feeling, that one.
Especially when you overtake them.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. And now behind in second place it's Louise Racing with Grant Gordon.
Attacking immediately around the committee boat.
Yeah, going to the crane race.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be interesting to see which boat will cross the line.
There seems to be slightly more pressure on the left-hand side, right-hand side of our screen, and therefore left-hand side of the course.
Let's see which boat is this one. It's GVR.
Yeah.
So Peter didn't manage to overtake them. Peter Cook in third position. And we're going to have a cross. Somebody's trying to go to the mark, to the pin end. Here the winner. Happy winner, of course. Let's go and look to the finishing line. And crossing the line now. So Pedro lost even another position. So crossing the line we have Belgium 88, which is Guy Celis, and now Pedro Rebelo de Andrade.
Yeah, looks like it's followed by, let me see the
819, which is Fever Klaus Dietrich. Almost 15 minutes of race.
Yeah, they've done well to finish. This is about 3:30.
Yeah, so the wind was really good now. And now we have Javier Van Este.
Yeah. With George Lima on board.
Yes.
Sorry, Gustavo Lima, not George. Gustavo.
So we have a trophy for the one that wins the first race. We have a trophy for those that win the last race, and that's Stavros Trophy, which has been won by Jan Secker with Misbehavior. Now arriving, we have Michael that won the previous race, the first one of the day. And closely followed by Vasco Serpa.
And GBR 12 is going to have to tuck.
Team Tavinar crossing now. So light winds but close racing. On the first race we had a lot of photo finishes. Upwind, it's a little bit harder to have as many photo finishes as we did.
Yeah, and
in
I
the
think
previous.
the spread of when we can see the fleet being spread out, it's because of different pressures on the course.
We did. Manuel Rocha now crossing the line, local sailor, and very experienced in the class.
Exactly.
On this second race, we didn't have so much close racing as we did it on the first one. We had, as Nikki told, a more spread fleet, but we had a final movement that was the overtake from Behavior overtaking Louise Racing. Now we're going to see some highlights of this last race of the day. Tempo. So welcome back. After these highlights of this race, we will now join the interview on the water with Zezi with the racers, the winners of this race. That was Miss Behavior, Jan Checker, Richard Sidon, and Gerard Mitchell.
No, it was really good racing today. Rather light winds, tending to go right. Have the best crew, Richard and Jerry, making us look really, really good. So it's all been quite good. We've had difficulties with our starting earlier this week, but we've gone off to 2 good starts today, and that has certainly helped us a lot.
So it was a lovely edition of this His Majesty King Juan Carlos Trophy. here in the Bay of Cascais. Nikki, I just want to thank you very much for
It's a
helping
pleasure.
me
No, thank you.
with all of your expertise on the class, on the boat.
Well, I must admit, I never realised how involved you get in the racing when you're actually sitting on the camera side, because I was going, no, tack.
So thank you very much for this. From me and Nikki, this is farewell, and I hope you have enjoyed the races as we did. Thank you very much, and see you the next time.